Hey, everybody. Welcome to Takeoff with John Clark. And let's bring in a very special guest. He is coming to Philadelphia on May 18th at the Helium Comedy Club. I believe he's going to check out a Phillies game as well and check out our sports here in Philly. Let's welcome in comedian Frank Caliendo. We appreciate you joining us.
Great to be with you. That's what everybody says, right? Great to be with you. Fantastic to be here. Thanks for Patrick Mahomes. Thanks for having me on. Get that going. The Mahomes. It's kind of a horn thing, I guess. So we get
That's
going.
a great one. Yeah, I mean, Frank, at the Super Bowl parade, we had Eagles fans hanging Kermit the Frog from trees. So it's a little disrespectful for Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, all Kermit the Frog here, and that is a problem. Okay, doesn't sound good to me. There we go. So, yeah, you gotta love Philadelphia fans, man. And I only say that because I'm coming there.
Yeah, well, I think Philadelphia can't wait to see you. I've seen you a couple times. I saw you last year in Detroit at the draft, and then way back one in Vegas. Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Artie Lang, the headliner Frank Caliendo. Do you remember that comedy festival?
No, I feel like you're making it up. That sounds too good. Chris Rock, I can't believe Caliendo's on this. I thought, what's the deal with them? What does he mean? When was this? That must have been a long time ago. Is that a long time ago?
It was probably 20 years ago. It was a Vegas comedy, conventions festival. Yeah, you were big.
Oh, maybe the TBS Comedy Festival. It could have been that kind of thing. I don't even know.
That could have been it.
Wow. I'm just involved in so many huge festivals. Who knows, man? Now, you do know one of my ties to Philadelphia sports is Daryl Morey, right? You know that I crush him in ping pong all the time. Did you know that?
Well, I've crushed him in tennis a couple times. So that's a funny connection there.
Yeah. You ask him about playing table tennis with me. I don't know what his pickleball game is, and I don't care about that. I don't play land-based games. I play table-based games. And Daryl's been over to my house, and I didn't used to say anything about how badly I crushed him until he started talking about how badly I crushed him, and now I talk about it as well.
I love it. Daryl's pretty eclectic because he does the poker games, he does tennis, he does ping pong. So I'm going to bring that up. I think we're going to interview him next week, actually.
Okay, great.
Sixers are not in a good space right now. But so I don't know if I could bring it up right away. But
no, you have to just go right away because I sat with him at he came to a Suns game. I live in Phoenix. Came to the Suns game, and we were just sitting there, and he was. I knew he used to not always watch the games, but he was able to watch the game when he was in Houston. He wouldn't even go to certain games. It was kind of like a Moneyball type of thing where he was just out of there. But now apparently he's got a stronger stomach for everything.
Well, you get the dub against Daryl Morey in ping pong. I wanted to ask you, Frank, we're going to get into a bunch of great stuff that you do. Your impersonations are incredible. Philadelphia can't wait to see it when you come here. The big thing in the news with the NFL draft after it is the prank calls that took place. And now every, player's coming out saying, I got prank calls too. So with Shedeur Sanders obviously getting the prank calls, how many times do you get asked by people, even on the street somewhere, hey, could you prank call somebody for me?
Yeah, I won't do that. I use my powers for good instead of evil. But I did do, I'm trying to figure out which way it was. I was at ESPN and I called Adam Schefter as, who did I call him as? I called him as Glazer, Jay Glazer. So I called. You're not gonna believe this. Witten just got traded. Call me. And Schefter's like calling the bosses at ESPN. I was like, why would Jay Glazer call me? It didn't make sense. And it turns out it was Frank Caliendo. So according to my sources, at this particular time, it appears I've been pranked. This wasn't really a prank, but a few years ago on the Dan Patrick Show, I talked about Steve Keim, who was the GM of the Cardinals. His son played flag football on my son's flag football team. And I called him and left him a message, but it was, a memo from on my phone, and it came from my phone number is Jon Gruden. You want to get rid of the number one pick, man? You don't need that number one pick. Let's make a trade, man. I got some ideas. The Las Vegas Raiders will take somebody off your hands, and we'll give you somebody for that. Come on, let's make a trade. This would be good. And it made national news, like Yahoo Sports or something took it. and they didn't listen to the interview as closely as possible. But that was where I learned, don't try and shut down the misinformation, because it just gets bigger and bigger and keeps your name tied in with something ridiculous. And for like a week, people were just calling me going, I can't believe you changed the draft, the trajectory of the draft. Yeah, I know, it was really tough to deal with, and I shouldn't do this. And the whole time I knew it was never even close. Nothing was ever going to happen.
I love it. So I mean, do people, when you're walking down the street or you're somewhere, do they say, hey, can you leave a message for my friend as somebody?
Once in a while, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of times to Morgan Freeman, and that's when they realized the person they were calling wasn't home right now. Fact of the matter is, if they're never home, it's a cell phone, so they're not available to take your call. Something like that. Just silly things, having fun. But I don't even do a ton of them because I never know what somebody's going to do with them either. That's the other thing, is people always want to shoot video, and I'm like, I'll take a picture with you, but I don't know who you are. You posting a video, me posting a video with you, or you posting a video of us together. It could end up being weird and misused. So I tend not to do that, but I'll do a phone thing once in a while and definitely take pictures with people.
Well, you've had a great career, and we started watching you, the NFL on Fox, Mad TV, and now you're touring the country. Where are you right now?
I don't know. I have to try. I'm in Minneapolis at the moment. I'm away. One more show in Minneapolis in Iowa. Got a corporate event that I do early next week, and then I head out more to the East Coast. I'm doing Toledo, which is just on the border of the Midwest, Pittsburgh, then on to Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and then I actually head back through Oklahoma to go home. And then my family, we're all going to Italy, which is why I'm doing this tour, is to pay for a trip to Italy. That's what it's all about.
And I think one of your great impressions is Jon Gruden, of course. And, I'm watching Jon Gruden at Barstool now, and I'm thinking, like, it's almost like he is doing your impression of him. Like, he's really selling it now.
Yeah, man, you got to really get into it. I got a call from him, or a text, probably 10 years ago now. That was 3 a.m, which I think is his lunchtime. And he's like, I just got done shooting a commercial where they asked me to do an impersonation of you, man. And I'm trying to figure out what that meant. But my guess was it was that commercial where he's like talking to the tire or something like that. You remember that back in the day? I think it was, they were just telling him to ramp it up and make it bigger and more like me. I was too scared to ask him what it actually meant. But I was supposed to go to one of those quarterback classes a couple of weeks ago. He's like, you coming out to do quarterback class with me, man? Like we did with Derek Carr. That was a good one, man. Remember that? I'm like, yeah, I remember. He's like, come on out. So then I called the producer. I'm like, hey, do you have time for me to do this? Or is this John just trying to get me out as court jester? He's like, yeah, you could do it. We'd have time for a couple lines. I'm like, let's just do a different time. I think it was going to be Jackson Dart too. I think that's who it was, which has been a pretty big one. But I was like, if I'm going to fly all the way to Tampa to the FFCA, man, and I'm just going to say 2 things and leave, I'd rather just do it, spend the day at Barstool with Gruden doing other stuff, cutting birthday cakes for people or something like that.
Give me a little more, Gruden, because I think it's fantastic. He, of course, started out here very, very young, boy genius, they called him here, offensive coordinator in Philly. And I remember him when the Eagles were going to play the Tampa Bay Bucks, when he became the Bucks head coach. People were saying the Bucks have never won in temperatures below 40 degrees. And I remember John saying, well, we will play anywhere. We'll play on the Walt Whitman Bridge. We'll play on the Ben Franklin Bridge. It doesn't matter where we're going to play. So give us a little Gruden. Because
we did. We practiced in Antarctica, man. You ever been to Antarctica? I'm not even sure if there were penguins there or not. The penguins were too cold. If they're in the Arctic, Antarctic, doesn't matter. I will play anybody, anywhere, at any time, man. That's what it's all about. We're ready to go, and then we're going to unbox some stuff. Inside that box is going to be some pizza. I'm going to do a Barstool pizza review after a Barstool unboxing. I tell you what, man, I can't wait to get going. It's going to be some good stuff, man.
That is a great Jon Gruden. And you know what? A lot of it is not just the voice, but it's also the eyes and the face that you become.
Well, a lot of time that gets you into it, man. So if you figure out the mouth tells you how the person talks and how they put together words, and sometimes even the phrasings they use. So the mouth tells you how they talk. The eyes tell you how they think. So if you just do talk like Jon Gruden, this sounds kind of like a man. But as soon as you get into it, you get into that talk, you make sure that you get the entire face going. And I tell you what, man, it becomes Jon Gruden. It doesn't get any better than this.
I think that's one of your best ones. Is there somebody that you like your favorite impersonation that you've ever done that
No,
you've got somebody down?
I mean, they're all there's when they're new, but it's like trying to pick a favorite child, which is my daughter at this point. But so I guess that's easier. I'm kidding. Hey, I tell you. So when they're newer, they're a lot of fun because they haven't used it when people haven't heard them as much. Another Philadelphia guy, Charles Barkley. People always love, don't be a knucklehead. Come on, that's really, really bad. Charles, one of the best guys I ever met as far as impressions. I walked up to him at a event for the Phoenix Suns charities. He's like, Frank, you gotta keep doing me. I'm like, what? You gotta keep doing that impression of me. Like, why is that? Because every time you do it, I end up making more money. He was honest about that. He's like, I don't even understand why people here do it on the radio. Next thing you know, I get a new commercial for Taco Bell for Weight Watchers, which came right after Taco Bell. Must have been 2-minute runs for the border. So he was great. He tells this story on the Kelsey podcast that John Madden called Charles Barkley years ago. And I never told people this story because I didn't know if Charles wanted it out, but he had told me about it. He goes, Charles, John Madden called me, right? I'm like, I'd heard something about that. He's like, yeah, he wanted to sue you. and I was like, yeah, I know about that. And so what happened? He's like, I talked him out of it. I said, this is good for both of us. When he's doing our voices, it's really silly and people talking about us. So he's actually the guy who kind of turned Madden around a little bit from John Madden not liking me all those years ago. So, and I'd always loved Madden too. It's just when you do it and you don't know the person, it's kind of weird. They think you're coming after them. And for me, it's more, I really like the people I'm doing the impressions of for the most part. And if I don't like the person, I find something about them that I like. Charles is complete honesty and authenticity, right? So he will tell you whatever, I don't want to hear LeBron James mentioned in the same sentence as Michael Jordan. Like, it's just, he will go straight to it. Doesn't have any problem telling you that that's what he thinks. And you're free to disagree with him. He just will tell you to go get a salad or something.
And I tell you, he is the best because here in Philly, when he comes and, he does our shows, he buys drinks for the crews. He introduces himself to everybody. He's actually
he is unbelievable.
Incredible.
I am nowhere near as nice. I'm nowhere near as famous as him, but I'm nowhere near as nice as him either. Charles Barkley makes everybody feel great. Every once in a while, I saw something recently where somebody was like going after him about, he was behind the scenes or something. Somebody came up to him. You can't ambush somebody. And he was even trying to be nice about that, but it's just like, come on, this guy is so good to people. It's just, but people try to bring you down all the time. And it's not just those big old San Antonio women, which could get everybody else would get in trouble. Barkley just thrives on it. Let's double down on it, knuckleheads.
It is epic. Do you do a little Charles and Shaq going back and forth?
Come on, Shaq. What's going on? You got to go to the bathroom. I got to go. Time to go to the bathroom. Run over there. I got you a porta potty. He's got to take a Shaq. That's what he's got to do, knuckleheads.
That's great. Now, you mentioned John Madden didn't like your impersonation of him at first. It was fantastic, the impersonation you did. Was he like the number one guy that you were worried about, that like he just didn't necessarily like you in the beginning?
Well, yeah, and
or didn't like the impersonation.
Yeah, well, no, he didn't. I don't think he liked me at all. And it wasn't just the beginning. It was probably 20 years that he didn't like me. So I finally met him at the Super Bowl in Dallas. I talk about it on my act, and I made his grandkids laugh. And it was like a light bulb went over his head. Like, I get it now. So it was a moment of realization that I was just this silly, goofy guy. I took pictures with him, with my kids, and all sorts of stuff. And I think he ended up getting that. His son actually wanted me to do something at his birthday party. I'm like, I don't know if your dad really wants that, but this was his 75th birthday party years and years ago. So I would have done it too, but it ended up not materializing. Maybe he thought back about it. It was like, I like him enough as long as he's further away.
By the way, of course, the prank calls with the draft, one of the big stories was Shedeur Sanders. And I just watched your Mel Kiper again on Twitter. It's kind of getting back out there again. Is that one of your favorites, the Mel Kiper?
Yeah, I didn't even, the first time I didn't even have it. I did it in a sketch, and I was trying to figure out what to do. And we were going back and forth, me and the producer, between whether I was going to say McShay, which was, he says a lot, but which was his nemesis, Todd McShay, for all those years. But then we go Todd, and I thought, well, Todd is a funny name, especially if you say it repetitively. Todd, Todd, Todd. Now I used to say Todd, Todd a couple times when he was getting mad at him. I turned it into Todd, 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 Todd. Like I think I got up to 25 Todds sometimes. So yeah, that became, and the cadence talk about tremendous situation, over there. And we broke down coffee, Starbucks franchise out there in Seattle doing a tremendous job. You gotta know the cold coffee, no chance of lap spill, a tremendous situation, not going to burn the roof of your mouth. At the end of the day, cold coffee, flying under the radar. Yeah, it's my number one pick. You'd be hard pressed to tell me otherwise.
That is a great one. And I'm sure you've heard it is trending right now everywhere in America. Even Eagles players are asking about it. Who would win one gorilla against 100 humans? If you could pick somebody out of your repertoire of impersonations to give us an answer on that, I think this could be entertaining. That's the big question.
I tell you what, man, I would have gone Gruden on that. I saw that I thought he was choosing the gorilla, man. I'll tell you what, that's a tremendous effort, especially if it's a King Kong sized gorilla. That's a big gorilla, man. Climbed to the top of the Empire State Building. What do you think, John?
I mean, you think of all the different ways. It's how many gorillas? One gorilla versus how many people?
100.
100 people. If it's 100 regular people, I'm taking the gorilla. But if it's 99 regular people and one Brett Favre, boom, I'm taking the people.
I love it. How about some other Philadelphia people? Have you ever attempted guys like Charlie Manuel or Joel Embiid?
No, I mean, it's tough. Here's the thing about these things take a long time to work on. People think I'm a sorcerer, or anybody who does an impression is a sorcerer. It's more of a table magician, somebody doing table magic in front of you. So you have to work on the impressions for maybe even years to get them to a certain point where they're good. So to do somebody regionally or locally, it's got to really fall in your lap and be really, for me to spend that amount of time, it's because it's unusable the rest of the year. Now that person could break nationally and then you have it in your back pocket to go. But it's really almost impossible for me to do that because I've got to work on people that the audience is going to know all around the country as opposed to maybe 5 people.
Yeah, we heard you great Patrick Mahomes. Have you ever done Andy Reid?
I did it, but it was more of I think I sunk my face into my neck like this, put on a mustache a couple of times, got the hat on. I could look pretty much like him, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great impression. It was more the look. And sometimes the look sells it more. People are like, now, I remember when I was at Mad TV and I had friends that were on Saturday Night Live, people were like, you did an amazing impression. No, the makeup people did an incredible impression. They made me look like that person.
So you have mastered so many great celebrities and athletes and people in sports. Is there somebody that you tried for a while to get down and you just said, you know what, I just can't take this to the public because I'm not comfortable. I didn't
hundreds. If you've never seen me do it, I can't do it. That's the thing is I do the ones that I can either do pretty accurately or do in a cartoon way, a cartoonish way. So if you don't have the dead-on impression, the other way to go about it is more the Dana Carvey style, who's maybe my favorite of all time. I mean, up there with Jim Carrey, but Dana's impressions are always caricatures, as opposed to like Daryl Hammond, who would do the dead-on type of impression. So I try to be somewhere in the middle. That's where I'm at my best. But yeah, if you've never heard me do it, I can't. I mean, that's probably. It's either I haven't tried it, which is a lot, but the other group of it would be somebody that I just can't do and I can't pull off. So, and people ask me to do all sorts of them, and it's just like I said, it just takes a lot of time, and sometimes you never get it.
And please tell me if I'm bothering you by asking about Philadelphia. How about Allen Iverson? Did you ever try to get him down?
No. But in my act, Donald Trump goes, "We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice." We're not talking about practice. Been doing that, but that's I read the practice speech on Mike and Mike back in the day as Morgan Freeman. That came a little bit after I did the LeBron letter, but Morgan Freeman talking about practice. That was pretty fun too, but never got the Allen Iverson impression. I did have his crossover dribble though, so
I can see that.
Yeah, I was very skilled. I have a great handle.
Now you're coming to Philly May 18th at Helium. So have you gotten a sense of how different our Philly accent is? Now, me personally, I say water. When
Water.
I go drink some water.
Water.
Water. Is that pretty bad?
Water. Yeah. I mean, it's different. For me, I grew up in the Midwest. When I first got to LA, they said my O's were like very old, like that, on the way to Fargo, Canadian, and I didn't even notice it, so it wasn't quite Minnesota, but water. There's the East Coast has a lot of different accents up there. There's the one in Massachusetts, only the Kennedys seem to have. I don't even understand that. But there are those kinds of, it usually has to do with R's and vowels. Vowels tend to be a little different in places. If you listen to like people overseas, like Australian, that the vowels are flat. It's not the vowels are flat; it's the vowels are flat. So you can kind of gauge. But everybody has their own personal dialect as opposed to just a regional dialect too. So water. I could learn that one.
And we say, a lot of people around here say daughter. Am I saying that right? Daughter.
Daughter.
Instead
like
of daughter. So
daughter.
Just getting you prepared.
Yeah. Well, for snowballs, is that what it is?
Come on now. That Santa was terrible.
That was years ago. He was terrible. That was a terrible, terrible Santa. We got to remember this stuff, guys. Come on. Don't give the people of Philly a bad reputation. They got a great reputation. Winning Super Bowls. Don't be a knucklehead.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that whole Santa thing is pretty wild because people still bring it up anytime there's a fan problem.
But, everybody remembers it.
But apparently it was a pathetic Santa. Like it was a terrible, not a well-dressed Santa. So people
I tell you what, you need a better Santa, man. If you've been a top-notch, you've been a 5-star Santa. That doesn't happen, man. We got a 2-star Santa. You got a chance of catching snowballs in the noggin, man. You got a 5-star Santa. You're going to use some of that magic to keep it away, man.
By the way, I was looking at my list of a couple more Philadelphia people. Did you ever attempt Doc Rivers?
Probably, but along the way somewhere, but it would kill my voice to even try it at this point. That's a lot of hoarseness right there.
Your Jerry Seinfeld is very good.
Jerry Seinfeld, what do you want from me? What are you doing?
Hey, Jerry, you got it.
Was Stephen A. Smith there for a while?
Stephen A. Smith started here at the Philadelphia Inquirer. Here we go.
I understand where we're coming from with some of these things.
When I first met Stephen A. Smith, right next to, he was going into an elevator. I was coming out of the elevator. It was at Fox Sports. He had left ESPN for a while before he came back and did like cold pizza or whatever became First Take. And I saw him. He was doing a little show at Fox Sports for a while, and I was doing the NFL on Fox. He sees me. He goes, "Mr. Caliendo, do me a favor. Of all the impressions and impersonations you do, don't ever do me." And recently I saw somebody asked him who did the best impression of him. And he said me. It was on a TikTok that went like semi-viral. And the funny thing was, I think he said me because he had just seen me like an hour earlier. And I was the first person that came to mind because Jay Farrow, Jamie Foxx do amazing ones. Jay Farrow might have the best one overall. So it's very funny that he said me, but it's amazing just to be at top of mind. Sometimes that works out for you.
Could you do a little Stephen A. Smith possibly running for president and President Trump's reaction to what that would be? I think this would be fantastic.
We just have to do everything we do for this community. I understand what's going on here for the people of the United States. Well, I've already tried to do that. We're doing very good. We're doing great things, but we got to do better things. We got to do the best things. That's what I'm trying to do. And I understand that you think what we're doing is the best, but I'm going to make it the bestest. Well, it can't be the bestest because I'm making it the bestest.
That is fantastic. Is that, what do you think your best current, celebrity sports person, what do you think like your favorite impersonation is right now at this point?
I mean, I don't know. Gruden's fun, but I just let everybody likes something different. So it's whatever people like. I don't, to me, trying to pick something doesn't even, the easiest one to do is whatever I'm rolling with at the time. For me, Morgan Freeman, I can always just go into this and talk as much as I want to. We can just climb to 500 yards of the filthiest slop I can't even imagine. Or maybe I just don't want to. So it's always easy to go into those. If I've done them a lot, it's like muscle memory and I can go right into it.
Do you literally like get in front of the mirror sometimes, or like how do you kind of like start the process of getting these incredible impersonations down?
I used to. I mean, that's what I did a lot when I was younger, but now I can kind of just feel it. And it's almost like I'm looking into a mirror without looking into a mirror. I'm disappointed when I see myself on TV or something because I'm like, oh, I thought I felt like I was that person. I look at it and I just look like, me doing it. But other people see it differently. I call it the pizza slice. It's the line across the eyebrows and a dot down at the chin. So it's this triangle. And I could go from George W. Bush looking like that to Donald Trump, who's in here, to Joe Biden. Come on, in there. To Jeff Goldblum. Ooh, yes. Of course, it's like a painting in a haunted house. Just the eyes follow you, don't they? I tell you what, man, scrunch up the nose and it's tremendous. It's going to be a great job right there.
John Madden looks like he's got a bunch of marbles in his mouth, and then boom. I mean, there you go.
I got to tell you, where else can you go from Jeff Goldblum to Jon Gruden and John Madden, Donald Trump, and everybody in there? You're fantastic. I've seen you a couple times. As I said, you don't even remember that show 20 years ago in Vegas, but last year, who was your opener in Detroit last year for the draft? The former Detroit Piston bad boy, right?
Oh, that's right. Rick Mahorn. That was an interesting show. Yeah, Rick Mahorn came up and swore a whole bunch like he was in the middle of a game. And then I'm super clean. So we were all kind of like, what just happened? But it was for a good cause and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Man, I was trying to think of what that draft show was. I apparently forget a lot of shows that I've done. But yeah, I remember being backstage and doing that. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. I saw you the night before the draft. We were out there covering it for NBC Sports Philly. You're coming to Philadelphia, Helium Comedy Club, May 18th. And Philadelphia, you're going to hear all these incredible impersonations. And Frank, before I let you go, I was going to ask if you wanted to do this. So we have a guy here, Barrett Brooks. He played for the Philadelphia Eagles. He played with Jon Gruden. Jon Gruden was his offensive coordinator. He was going to be in here today, but I thought he would totally feel he was talking to his former coach. Is there any chance we could FaceTime Barrett Brooks, our coworker, and just see if he enjoys this phone call from his
I'll tell you what,
coach?
we could try Barrett Brooks. That's alliteration, man. I love BB. They call him the BB gun, man. BB. I tell you what, that's a great idea. Doing a little FaceTime.
Here we go.
Yeah, what's going on, bro?
What's up, B? How you doing, man? Barrett Brooks, this is John Clark in the office. I got a guest here for you from your past who just wants to say hello on our Zoom. Is that cool?
Of course.
All right, here we go, B.
I'll tell you what, man, I love Barrett Brooks. Does a tremendous job on the field and now off the field. BB, you're the man. Little spider 2-Y banana. This guy knew that the primary was going to be the fullback, man. Plane going over my head, man, right now. I don't know if you can hear it because I got the AirPods on, but I would trust Barrett Brooks to block on that offensive line any day, any time, any year, any millennium, any longer. I can go on the sentence. It's not going to make any more sense.
All right, Barrett, how about that? A little surprise here from Jon Gruden.
My guy Gruden, man. Tell him my favorite play still is 322 stick nod. Get the stick nod around.
That's a heck of a play there, Barrett Brooks. Hold on, John wants to say one more thing for you.
I'll tell you what, my favorite's an Italian play, spaghetti 2-Y bruschetta, man. That's a great one. Let's reveal this for Barrett so he doesn't think I'm a jerk.
All right, Barrett. John just wanted to say hi. Pretty good, huh?
Tell Groot Dog, man, I said what's up, man. Love him still, man. Love him still.
All right, now, would it surprise you if that was not actually Jon Gruden?
It sounds just like him, though.
That is the incredible comedian impersonator Frank Caliendo who's coming to Philly. Can you believe that?
I've seen him too.
I'll tell you what, man, what makes this great is I'm on a Zoom, you're on a phone call, and we got every kind of disguise possible with the voice over multiple levels of technology. It's doing a great job. Barrett Brooks, still the best in the game as far as I can tell.
That is awesome. How great is that, Barrett?
Tony's amazing, man. Tony's amazing.
Yeah, that is awesome. You
appreciate it, Barrett. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'll take it, man. I remember one time I feel the worst doing that stuff because sometimes you feel like I did that with Rob Schneider years ago, they had me on ESPN Los Angeles as John Madden.
And, I was talking like this and saying different things, and I went,
And Rob thought it was actually John Madden. I was like, oh gosh, now I gotta go apologize to him, and now I gotta apologize to you.
Well, Barrett loves it. Barrett, see, were you convinced that was Jon Gruden, your former offensive coordinator?
At first he had me, man, but I was like, you know what? It's going a different direction. How's that?
That's the 100% true. It's going a little weird and less football talk than a football coach would talk. It's going a little Bugs Bunny. So yeah, that's when you know a guy is smarter than you, and he's doing exactly what he does, using the detective work of Sherlock Holmes himself. What's up, Watson? I'll tell you what, man, doing a great job.
Well, that was awesome. Frank Caliendo, that is incredible.
That's what's up, man. Thanks a lot.
You just said it to him. Barrett Brooks says thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was tremendous, man. This is gonna go down in history as just another regular day for both of us.
All right, B, we'll see you when you get into work. See you, man. Frank, that was awesome. Seriously.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you. I don't know how to use FaceTime apparently, so I messed it up. But Barrett bought it for a little bit, so that's great.
You got it. Yeah, that's good. That's usually what happens. Is it's a little bit, and then I start to go off on a tangent, get a little crazy, and people are like, "What is he? What's Grood Dog?" Everybody calls him Grood Dog too, which is what I find funny. Grood Dog. That's how you know somebody knows Jon Gruden. Grood Dog. So, and Grood Dog refers to himself that way. He's like, "You tell him Grood Dog said, I love you, man."
Well, you're great. Philly's going to enjoy you. I'm glad you're coming here. May 18th. And you're going to check out the Phillies game?
Yeah, I believe they invited us to go out to the game. So we got to come from Pittsburgh the night before. So we're going to make the trek and get there in time, I think.
That's great. Well, look forward to seeing you at the Phillies game. And you're always great when you're in town and also when you're on the road. I've seen you a couple times. Fantastic shows at Philadelphia. Helium Comedy Club, May 18th. Frank Caliendo coming to Philly. So we appreciate your time, Frank.
Hey, thanks, man.
The greatest. Oh, mom, so flagrant.